I was forced to pay $3,100 for my brother's extravagant birthday, and when I refused, my parents demanded my apartment, so they kicked me out. A year later, karma came knocking, and what happened next turned their perfect world upside down. I, a 32-year-old man, have always been the responsible older brother, the one who helps out, who understands, who sacrifices, but last weekend, I finally snapped. Let's rewind. My younger brother, Lucas, a 22-year-old man, just had a birthday, and I mean a birthday. This wasn't some casual dinner or a house party. No, my parents booked a private room in an upscale restaurant, hired a photographer, flew in a custom cake from another city, and even had a champagne tower, for a guy who still lives with our parents and has never had a job longer than 6 months. But hey, whatever. It's his birthday. I wasn't even that mad until I remembered my own 22nd birthday. My birthday versus his. When I turned 22, I was finishing college, working 2 jobs to pay for tuition, and basically surviving on caffeine and stress. My parents got me a bouquet of flowers. That's it. No party, no dinner, not even a cake. Just a tiny bouquet of half-hearted flowers from a grocery store. At the time, I didn't complain. I thought, money's tight, I get it. Well, apparently money's not tight when it comes to Lucas. How I found out I was just the family ATM. I wasn't even invited properly. My mom sent me a half-hearted text 2 days before the event. Lucas's birthday dinner is on Saturday, 6:00 p.m. Wear something nice and bring a gift. That was it. Not we'd love to see you, not hope you can make it. Just an order, like I was an Uber Eats driver. I should have known something was off. But, like the foolish older brother I am, I still showed up. And that's when it hit me. I walked into the restaurant, looked around, and realized they didn't even save me a seat. Oh, just stand somewhere. The place was packed. Friends, extended family, people I barely recognized, but no chair for me. I walked up to my mom. Where am I sitting? She barely looked up from her phone. Oh, just squeeze in somewhere or maybe stand for a bit. We didn't know if you were actually coming. I blinked. Stand. They assumed I wouldn't come, but still expected a gift from me. Lucas, meanwhile, was chilling at the head of the table, grinning while people handed him envelopes with cash. When he finally noticed me, he smirked. Oh, hey, you didn't forget my gift, right? I clenched my jaw. Nice to see you, too. He just shrugged. Well, what did you get me? Not glad you're here, bro. Not thanks for coming. Just give me my stuff. I should have left. I almost did, but I figured, forget it. I'll eat, say hi to some people, and bounce. But then the package arrived. Just as the waiter started clearing the plates, a delivery guy walked into the restaurant, pushing a massive box on a dolly. Everyone went silent. The guests, my parents, Lucas. All of them turned to stare as the guy wheeled it straight into the private dining room. He looked around. I have a delivery for Nicholas. I raised my hand. That's me. The whispers started immediately. Wait, he did bring a gift. What is it? That thing looks expensive. The delivery guy handed me the receipt. It's a high-performance electric scooter, fully paid for. Just need your signature. Lucas's eyes lit up. He jumped from his seat. Wow! Is that for me? I took the pen, turned to look at him, and smiled. It was for you, I said. The room went dead silent. Then, in front of everyone, I took out my phone, pulled up the delivery tracking, and clicked cancel order. The delivery guy blinked. Sir? Change of plans, I said. Take it back. Lucas's face dropped. What on earth are you doing? He exploded. That's my gift. I shrugged. Well, seeing as there's no seat for me at this table, I figure there shouldn't be a gift either. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. My dad's face turned red. My mom's jaw hit the floor. Lucas's shock turned into rage. He slammed his hands on the table. You're humiliating me in front of everyone! I tilted my head. Oh, kind of like how you humiliated me by not even bothering to save me a seat? He looked like he was about to lunge at me. That's when my dad intervened. Just cover half the bill, okay? My dad, ever the peacemaker, except when it involves actual fairness, slid the bill toward me. Well, since you didn't give him the scooter, you can at least help with dinner. Just cover half, sweetheart. I looked down. $6,200. I laughed out loud. You're joking, right? Lucas, still fuming, crossed his arms. Come on, dude, don't be rude. You make the most money here. I set my fork down, took a deep breath, and stood up. Yeah, no, I'm not paying for this. Nicholas, don't be difficult. Mom's voice was all sugary sweet, like I was embarrassing her. You've always helped before, Dad added. It's just money. Lucas leaned back, still sulking. Yeah, don't be a buzzkill. I looked around. No one, not my aunts, not my uncles, not my cousins, thought this was weird. They all just sat there waiting for me to take out my wallet. I exhaled slowly. You know what? You're right. I have always helped, and that was my mistake. Dad frowned. What's that supposed to mean? I turned to Lucas. You're a grown man now. If you want fancy birthday parties, maybe you should pay for them. Lucas scoffed. Dude, it's just money. I grabbed my coat. Then you won't mind paying for it. Mom's tone turned cold. Nicholas, sit down. You're embarrassing us. I laughed. Embarrassing you? No, Mom, the real embarrassment is expecting your eldest son to fund your youngest son's luxury lifestyle. Dad stood up, his voice sharp. If you walk out that door, don't expect us to call you next time we need something. I met his gaze. Good. And I walked out. Was I wrong to finally say no? I drove home, gripping the wheel, replaying the whole thing in my head. No one called me. No texts, no missed calls, just silence. And honestly, that silence felt better than I ever expected. I should have seen it coming. This wasn't some one-time thing. This wasn't out of nowhere. I had spent years being the family's go-to problem solver, the walking wallet. And every time I thought maybe, just maybe, they appreciated it, something would happen that reminded me exactly where I stood. Let me take you back. Why I always paid and why it took me so long to stop. You know why I kept helping? Why I never said no. It wasn't just guilt. It wasn't just obligation. I did it because I thought if I did everything they asked, if I was the perfect son, maybe they'd love me like they love Lucas. Stupid, right? But when you grow up in a house where one child gets praised and the other gets ignored, you start looking for ways to matter. Lucas was always the golden child. Always. When he got an A in school, big celebration, family dinner, maybe even a gift. When I got straight A's, a nod, and a good job. When he made his high school soccer team, they threw a party. When I got into one of the top universities in the state, they told me not to act cocky. And it wasn't just words, it was money. I got into college on a partial scholarship, which meant I had to work 2 jobs to cover the rest. Meanwhile, my parents fully paid for Lucas's tuition, his dorm, his meal plan, everything. I thought if I worked hard, if I kept proving myself, if I took care of the family, maybe one day they'd finally see me. I thought love was something I could earn. The $2,500 rent scam. By the time I graduated and got my first real job, I was still living at home because rent was insane and I was trying to save up. Big mistake. One night at dinner, my dad casually said, "You know, a man your age shouldn't be living with his parents rent-free." I nearly choked on my food. You want me to pay rent in my own family's house? He just shrugged. We all chip in, Nicholas. It's only fair. Fair. Lucas was living there for free, but I was the responsible one, right? The one who figures things out. So, I paid $2,500 a month. More than my friends were paying for actual apartments. And guess what? My parents weren't using that money for bills. They were using it to cover Lucas's expenses, his food, his clothes, his hobbies. I was literally paying to support his life while he did nothing but play video games. The phone call that changed everything. The night before Lucas's birthday dinner, my mom called me. Not to invite me properly, not to say she was excited to see me. No, she had a list of expensive gifts she wanted me to pick from. Mom, sweetheart, I need you to get Lucas a nice present this year. Okay. Like what? Well, something useful, she said. I was thinking, and then she literally listed out options like I was a walking ATM. Maybe a MacBook or an iPhone, or oh, I saw this high-end electric scooter online. It would be perfect for getting to college quickly. I almost laughed. You're giving me a shopping list. Nicholas, you make good money. It's his 22nd birthday. Don't be selfish. Oh, yeah? What did he get me for my 22nd birthday? Silence. Then she sighed. The guilt trip was coming. You know, we do so much for you, and we never ask for anything in return. That's when I snapped. You never ask? I paid for his college. I pay for half this house. I pay for everything he ever wants. And you're saying you never ask? Her voice turned cold. You don't have to be so dramatic, Nicholas. I hung up. Then I did something petty. I bought the stupid scooter but scheduled the delivery for the middle of the birthday dinner. Why? Because for once I wanted them to see how much I actually did. The moment everything clicked. As I sat at that restaurant watching Lucas bask in attention, something inside me snapped. For years I had given, sacrificed, paid, and provided. And for what? Had I ever gotten a grand birthday party? No. Had they ever surprised me with expensive gifts? No. Had they ever made me feel like I truly mattered to them? No. I had spent my entire life chasing their approval, believing that if I worked hard enough, if I gave enough, if I proved myself worthy enough, they would finally love me the way they loved Lucas. But that night, sitting there in that crowded restaurant with no seat at my own family's table, I finally understood it was never going to happen. No matter how much I gave, no matter how much I did, I would always be just a wallet to them. And I was done. For the first time in my life, I was going to say no. I was finally free. I grabbed my coat, feeling a strange calm settle over me. It wasn't rage anymore. It wasn't sadness. It was clarity. As I turned toward the door, my mom's voice cut through the silence. "Nicholas, don't be ridiculous. We're family." I turned back, meeting her eyes. "No, Mom, we're not. A family actually cares about each other. This is just a business transaction where I'm the only one paying," Lucas scoffed. "Dude, what is wrong with you?" I smiled. For the first time in my life, absolutely nothing. I looked around at the faces staring at me, some shocked, some angry, some just waiting to see if I would cave in. But I wouldn't. Not anymore. You all have a great dinner. And with that, I walked out the door. I didn't storm out. I didn't slam the door. I didn't make a scene. I just left. And for the first time in my life, I felt weightless. Because this wasn't just about a birthday dinner. This was the first time I chose myself. This is far from over. What happened next was even worse. Want to hear what my parents did after this? Buckle up. The silence after I walked out of that restaurant was deafening. No calls, no texts, nothing. And you know what? That should have been the end of it. I should have moved on, enjoyed my first taste of freedom, and never looked back. But I made one mistake. I underestimated how far my family would go to pull me back in. The first call. It took 3 days for my mom to finally call me. I was at work when my phone buzzed, her name flashing on the screen. I let it ring. A minute later, a text popped up. "Nicholas, we need to talk. Please don't ignore your family." I ignored it. 2 hours later, another text. "We're having dinner tonight, at home. Your father wants to see you." I knew what this was. Damage control. They weren't sorry. They weren't calling because they missed me. They just needed me to keep playing my role. I stared at the message for a long time before finally typing back, "Fine, I'll be there." That apology that wasn't really an apology. When I walked into my parents' house that night, I could tell they'd planned this carefully. The table was already set. My mom had made my favorite meal. My dad was sitting in his usual spot, looking like he was about to deliver some wise, fatherly speech. Lucas was there too, sitting with his arms crossed, glaring at me like I was the problem. I sat down, arms crossed. "All right," I said. "You wanted to talk?" Mom gave me this soft, sad look, the kind she used when she wanted me to feel guilty. "Honey," she said, "we just don't understand what happened the other night. That wasn't like you." I laughed. "Not like me? You mean not like the version of me that always pays and never complains?" Dad sighed like I was being difficult. "Nicholas, look, we may have miscommunicated, but at the end of the day, we're family, and family takes care of each other." I stared at him. "You mean I take care of you?" A long pause. Then he cleared his throat. "Let's not focus on the past. We need to move forward." I knew what was coming next before he even said it. They wanted something, the real reason they called me back. "We've been talking," Mom said carefully, "and we think we found a way to make things right." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh?" She smiled. "Instead of an expensive gift, why don't you just help Lucas with something practical?" I exhaled sharply. "Here it comes." "His apartment lease is ending soon," Dad said. "And well, you have that new condo you're fixing up." I blinked. "You want me to let Lucas move into my condo?" Mom placed her hand on mine, her voice sweet and reasonable, the same tone she always used when she was about to manipulate me. "Sweetheart, your new condo is almost ready, isn't it?" she said. I didn't answer. She continued, "It's so big for just one person. 3 bedrooms? That's too much space for you alone." I clenched my jaw. "And Lucas would be so comfortable there," she went on. "It's in a great location, so close to his college. It's perfect for him." Then she gave me a sad smile as if she was doing me a favor. "You know, this could be a way for you to make up for ruining his birthday," she said softly. I actually felt my brain short-circuit for a second. I ruined his birthday? I stared at her, at my dad, at Lucas, who just sat there smirking like he expected me to cave in. And that's when I finally understood. They hadn't heard a single word I said. I walked out of that restaurant because I was tired of being used, and their response was to use me even more. They weren't trying to fix anything. They weren't trying to rebuild a relationship, they just wanted me to keep paying. The moment I snapped, I pulled my hand away from my mom's. "Let me get this straight," I said. "I tell you I'm tired of being treated like a wallet. And your solution is to let Lucas move into my home, rent-free, because 3 bedrooms is too much space for me?" Mom sighed. "Nicholas, don't be so dramatic." I slammed my hand on the table. "No, you don't get to say that," I said. "You don't get to act like this is normal." I turned to Lucas. "For years, I've paid for your stuff, college bills, a regular pickup truck, and not once have you ever been grateful." Lucas rolled his eyes. "Oh, here we go." I cut him off. "No, you don't get to roll your eyes. You don't get to act like I'm the selfish one." Then I turned to my parents. "And you two? You made me believe that if I just kept giving, if I kept helping, one day I'd be as important to you as Lucas is." My mom's face fell. "I finally get it now," I continued. "I was never your son. I was your investment." Dad's jaw tightened. "That's enough, Nicholas." "No," I said, "it's not." I stood up, shoving my chair back. "I am done being the responsible one. I am done being your safety net. I am done with all of you. The final explosion." Dad slammed his hand on the table. "If you walk out that door, you're not coming back." Lucas smirked. "Good. About time." I looked at them, really looked at them, and felt nothing. No sadness, no guilt, just relief. "Perfect," I said, and I walked out. I didn't slam the door. I didn't yell. I just left. And this time, I knew I wasn't coming back. I thought that was the end. I was wrong because a few months later, my parents called me again. And this time, they weren't asking me for a favor. They were begging. Want to hear what happened next? Buckle up. The first few weeks without them. At first, I expected the silence. I knew my family. They weren't the type to come, running after me. No, they were waiting for me to come crawling back. They thought I'd feel guilty. They thought I'd start missing them. They thought wrong. Because for the first time in my life, I felt free. No more surprise bills, no more guilt trips, no more feeling like I owed them something just because I existed. I moved into my condo, which I paid for with my money, and every single morning, I woke up in my own space with my own rules, and I felt lighter. Lucas, meanwhile, moved back in with my parents. I didn't reach out. I didn't ask how he was doing, but I heard things. And let's just say things weren't going well. Life without me wasn't as easy as they expected. Without me paying the bills, my parents started struggling fast. Lucas had to actually start contributing to the household. And let's just say he wasn't thrilled. Apparently he got a job, a part-time job at a coffee shop, and within 2 weeks, he quit. I heard from a mutual friend that he complained constantly about how unfair it was that he had to work. Meanwhile, I was flourishing with no one draining my money. I was saving like crazy. I started traveling. I upgraded my car. I was living for myself for the first time ever, and I was happier than I had ever been. Then, 6 months after I walked out of that house for good, they called me. The call I knew was coming. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was at home, reading, when my phone buzzed. "Mom." I stared at the screen for a long time before picking up. I didn't say anything at first. Then finally, "Mom, Nicholas, we need your help." I almost laughed. There it was. The real reason she was calling. Not because she missed me. Not because she wanted to make amends. No, she needed something. I leaned back in my chair. "Oh, with what?" She hesitated. "It's about Lucas." Of course it was. I didn't say anything. She took that as a sign to keep going. "He wants to open his own coffee shop," she said. "But he needs some financial help to get started." I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Unbelievable. After everything, after I walked away, after I made it crystal clear that I was done, they still thought I was going to fund his life. And why exactly would I do that? She sighed. "Nicholas, don't be like this. We're family." I almost laughed. "Oh, now we're family. How much does he need?" Mom hesitated. $60,000. I nearly choked. $60,000. They were insane, the deal I offered them that broke them completely. I was about to tell her to leave me alone, but then an idea hit me. A petty, brilliant idea. "All right," I said, "I'll give him the money." Mom gasped, clearly not expecting that answer. "Oh, sweetheart, that's so wonderful, but on one condition," I said. "Silence. I'll give him the full $60,000, interest-free. But if he doesn't pay me back within a year, the house becomes mine." The silence on the other end of the line was delicious. Then, finally, Mom said, "Nicholas, you can't be serious." "Oh, I'm dead serious," she stammered. "That house, that's our home." I smiled. Exactly, and my money is my money. She was quiet for a long time. Then, voice shaking, she said, "If that's your condition, then we have no son." I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "Sounds good to me," I said, and I hung up. I sat there for a moment, staring at my phone, and you know what? I felt nothing. No guilt, no sadness, just peace, because I finally knew I had won. Final part. Lucas didn't get his coffee shop. 3 months later, he racked up so much debt that my parents had to sell the house anyway. I didn't find out from them. I found out from my cousin Emily, who texted me, "Just thought you should know, Mom and Dad are moving. Lucas screwed them over." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I put my phone down, and I went back to living my life, because for the first time ever, I was free. It's been a year since I last spoke to my parents. A year since I walked out of that house and chose myself for the first time ever. I thought it would be harder. I thought I'd feel guilt, sadness, regret. But you know what? I don't feel any of that. I feel peace. My life now, I wake up every morning in my own condo in a space that belongs to me and only me. I travel whenever I want. I spend my money on my own future, not someone else's. I make choices for myself without worrying about what my family will think, and for the first time ever, I feel like I'm actually living. Lucas, from what I've heard, is still struggling. He still jumps from job to job. He still expects others to bail him out. And worst of all, my parents still enable him. It's like nothing has changed for them. But that's the thing. I'm not part of their cycle anymore. The final message I received from them. A few weeks ago, I got a message from an unknown number. It was my dad. "We're moving out of the house. Your mother is heartbroken. I hope you're happy." I stared at it for a while, and then I deleted it. No response, no second thoughts, because I owe them nothing. Not after everything they did. Not after a lifetime of being treated like an ATM instead of a son. And for the first time, I know I don't have to feel guilty for choosing myself. So, was I wrong for walking away? A year ago, I might have wondered. I might have second-guessed myself. But now I know I did the only thing I could have done. Because family isn't about obligation. It's about love, respect, and mutual care. And if those things don't exist, then sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away and never look back.